Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, January 10. Jamaicans are being warned to always be prepared for an earthquake in the wake of last night's powerful 7.6 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Honduras.
We're asking Jamaicans in whatever way, shape, or form you can, do something. Do something to exercise your earthquake awareness, your earthquake preparedness. And if you're in doubt, make contact with this office. Visit our website. We have a host of documents ready for you. We would also want persons to visit the local authorities, the local municipal corporations, because they too, we have pamphlet, brochure, all of that ready.
The earthquake was recorded at 10:20 Tuesday night, following which a tsunami warning was issued. The warning has since been cancelled. Calling the quake a reminder that disasters can occur at any time, Director General Major Clive Davis urged the Jamaicans to practice earthquake safety measures. Earthquake Awareness Week 2018 is being observed from January 7 to 13 under the theme Preparing for the Quake Helps Reduce Damage After the Shake. National security, economic growth, and the ongoing wage negotiations with the public sector are among the topics of discussion at a three-day cabinet retreat. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is leading the cabinet retreat, which started this morning at the office of the Prime Minister. Cabinet members will also discuss plans for the 2018-2019 budget. The Ministry of National Security has allocated $92.8 million towards the purchase of equipment aimed at securing the nation's borders. Among the acquisition are 6 helicopters and 4 airplanes for the Jamaica Defense Force. The aircraft, worth approximately $49 million, will be used for passenger, troop, and medical evacuation, heavy cargo and troop transfer, as well as training. The purchase complements last year's procurement of 2 boats worth $26.4 million for the JDF Coast Guard and the customization of a $16.9 million surveillance plane. As part of the Ministry of National Security's 5-pillar crime reduction strategy, Minister Robert Montague says the equipment will prevent the entry of illegal guns and ammunition as well as uncustomed goods. Last year, the security forces seized over 850 illegal guns and nearly 22,000 rounds of ammunition. 500 public and private sector healthcare workers will be trained to identify and treat victims of human trafficking.
We have to break this cycle of violence. Clearly, the health sector has a very important role to play in this regard. Training has been done in the past, but we do have turnover of staff, and so it's very useful that there is the training plan.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Sansia Bennett-Templer, was speaking at Monday's launch of the Standard Operating Procedures Manual for healthcare officials to deal with victims of human trafficking at the Ministry of Justice. The manual, titled Management of Suspected Victims of Trafficking in Persons Protocol for Healthcare Workers, contains pertinent information concerning the identification and protection of victims. Asserting that 88% of sex trafficking victims may turn to health facilities for help, Mrs. Bennett-Templer said it was important for healthcare workers to be able to identify victims. A human trafficking video will also be developed and used as part of the orientation of all clinicians entering the health system. Sensitization training to combat the spread of the frosty pod rot disease affecting cocoa production has started among St. Mary farmers. Training began today in the parish, which has one of the larger acreages of cocoa farms on the island. Government will be assisting with the stripping, pruning, and spraying of cocoa trees in an effort to combat the disease. At a recent JIS think tank, Chief Plant Quarantine and Produce Inspector in the Agriculture Ministry, Sanil Wilson, said the move is expected to save over 8,800 acres of cocoa and secure the livelihood of more than 4,000 farmers.
When you prune trees, the trees will become more robust and yield more. So we're looking at about another 2 to 3 years if we are able, with the commitment of our farmers and the ministry's effort to manage this disease, that we will be back in the market.
Ms. Wilson is also reminding farmers that the frosty pod rot disease is highly contagious, and under the 2017 Frosty Pod Rot Disease Order, no transportation of cocoa should be carried out across parishes. Should there be a need for such transportation, farmers are being urged to contact the ministry, where a plant quarantine officer will be provided to assist in ensuring that all protocols are being observed. And finally, The Accompong Maroon community is slated to benefit from the Ministry of Culture's Economic Opportunities Workshop program.
We created an economic program for the Maroon communities that surrounded the Blue and John Crow Mountains. And we are now expanding that program to Accompong as we prepare the dossier for the cockpit country to be designated a World Heritage Site.
Portfolio Minister Olivia Grange was speaking at Saturday's ceremony marking the 280th anniversary of the signing of the peace treaty between the Accompong Town Maroons and the British government. The Economic Opportunities Workshop was created to help persons living in and around the Blue and John Crow Mountains to take advantage of the area being declared a World Heritage Site. Minister Grange says a team from the ministry will be working with the Colonel of Accompong to organize future celebrations to be marketed globally through the Ministry of Tourism. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.